So we'll ask, what's the biggest cause of burnout in EMS to you?
Personally, I think there's probably two. I think first and foremost, probably just the number of calls. If you're constantly running up all night, things like that. Probably another thing could just be your nature of calls. Some people have troubles with their calls. Pediatrics, such like that. I think it's probably your biggest reasons for burnout.
Mm-hmm. What do you think is the biggest cause of burnout in EMS?
I think the biggest cause of burnout in EMS is being overworked. We work long hours, we work 24-hour shifts. A lot of places offer overtime every day, and these people take the overtime because a lot of EMS services are underpaid, so they have to work more to make more money. And I think the workload is a big part of burnout. The day we don't get a break, we're running all day long, and you do that for a long period of time, and you just get tired of it, stressed, and burn out basically.
So what do you think is the biggest cause of burnout in EMS?
I think the biggest cause of burnout is when you work more hours than you're at home. This happened to me. It's pretty awful. I was working 4 days a week, yet only being home 3. I would never recommend that to anybody.
What do you think is the biggest cause of burnout in EMS?
I think the biggest cause of burnout in EMS is the time away from your family. We work 48-hour shifts here, and then we talk to the crews as they come in. We try to come in a little early, and it's just taking time away from family. We work all night long. We don't get to be home those days, and it just plays a toll on you emotionally. And when you start worrying about that, then you start looking for another job where you're home all the time and looking for better benefits and just, getting out of this field so that you can be with your family more.
We're just asking, what's the biggest cause of burnout to you in EMS?
I think the amount of hours a paramedic has to work to supply for the family. Most paramedics work at least 2 jobs, one primary, one secondary. Within that you're working 24-hour shifts, 72 hours a week. You don't get to be around the family very much. You miss kids' events. You miss all kinds of stuff. And I think the idea of working less and making more money always intrigues paramedics, and that's why we're seeing such a bridge to nursing and to other fields. I think that's the number one burnout is family.
Family. So what do you think is the biggest cause of burnout in EMS today?
Probably the biggest burnout. Every individual is different that works in EMS, but a lot of individuals try to work too many hours in a week. The pay wages aren't quite as good as they need to be for somebody to be able to sustain a family living. So they work 2 24-hour shifts for one service, and then try to work 1 or 2 24-hour shifts for another service. And it takes a toll on your body, and it also takes a toll on your mind, seeing about too many cases of death, or too many suicides, or just wrongful deaths, any traumas. It takes a toll on a human's brain that you just get to where you don't really want to see it any longer, and you've had enough. I think that could be the biggest reason, I would think, for burnout. And then especially if people don't use the resources available for them to to keep their own mind reacting normally to the situations that we see every day, such as using the therapists. We as caregivers also need, and seeing all that, need to take care of our own person, and have some therapy. You know, and after you've seen all of the bad that goes around in society, you need yourself to get some help so you don't get burnt out.
So what do you think is the biggest cause of burnout in EMS today?
I believe it's probably going to be the pediatric calls, because everyone relates back to them either from their own family or just being, new parents. Anytime you see a child that's been abused or even in a trauma situation from a car wreck, it really hits home and sticks with you, I think, a lot longer than what an adult calls do.
So what do you think is the biggest cause of burnout in EMS?
Probably the biggest cause of burnout is just being away from your family. And I don't know, it gets pretty tough when you're away from your family, especially if your family's not into any kind of emergency medical, not having anyone to talk to. You don't want to take your calls home to your family and try to tell them what you've seen, the things you've dealt with, so you just bottle that up until you start experiencing burnout. I don't know, that's probably one of the biggest things, is not being able to share with your family, just bottling it up inside. You need to find someone you can talk to if it's not your family, someone you can talk to someone else in EMS or preacher or somebody you can talk to that won't be biased, won't be judgmental, but you can get things off your chest.
Any advice for upcoming paramedics?
I've got two things for you. First, sounds corny, but keep studying. It makes the world of difference. Second thing would be to always treat your patients like your family, whether it's your grandma, grandpa, brother, sister, and it really shows in your patient care.
Any advice for upcoming paramedics?
My advice for upcoming medics is don't let the calls get to you personally, and take your vacation time. If your place of employment offers you vacation, use it. Take that time away to reflect on what you enjoy to do, your hobbies. Don't try to live every day as a paramedic. When you leave work at work. People are going to ask you about calls and stuff, and just do your best to not relive that moment, that call, and stay home, spend time doing what you enjoy to do.
Some advice for upcoming paramedics?
To keep your composure. I mean, it's kind of hard to do at times, but especially when you're tired and stuff in the middle of the night calls. And you got to realize it's, people are calling us because they rely on you, and they look up to people in EMS because we're there to help people. Just try to put yourself in their shoes, and because we work with all types of people, and we just need to kind of look at it through their eyes a little bit too, and go from there, and just try to be professional on every call.
What about any advice for upcoming paramedics?
Probably from my experience being when I was a new paramedic and now being a preceptor to new medics, probably one of the biggest things is just know when you come into this game that there's people who've been doing it a long time, have a lot of knowledge on things, and take their advice. You don't have to do exactly what they say. Find your own path, but listen. ask a lot of questions to veteran medics. You can learn a lot from them, and then choose your own way of doing things. Probably the next biggest thing I could tell you is when you're in the back of the truck, don't lose your cool. Just always remember that it's not your emergency. It's your patient's emergency. It's not your emergency. Don't make it your emergency. You know what you're doing. Just treat your patient, and we can only do so much. You know, if it's their day to die, they're going to die, whether you're there or not. So don't make it your emergency. Just do the best you can, and they'll either survive it or they won't. But you can't fix everybody. No.
What about some advice for upcoming paramedics?
I think it's real important for paramedics, not only new paramedics, but for seasoned medics also, to keep learning. Realizing that we're out here to save lives, to help people, and if we don't keep up with the changes in medicine, and especially our protocols that we have in the way we treat in paramedicine, we can't be comfortable in just staying at the same level that we're at. We need to learn every day we come out. We need to learn and see how we can better and be better paramedics. Know that just because you graduated your paramedic school doesn't mean you're going to be a good paramedic. You have to learn, keep learning every day you're out here.